Hola, bienvenidos M2, yo soy Susy Moscatel y hoy tenemos dos entrevistas verdaderamente importantes e interesantes para quienes estamos esperando ya todas estas grandes producciones preverano. Si son fans del planeta de los simios, seguramente ya corrieron desde la semana pasada al cine a ver El Imperio del planeta de los simios. 9 películas después, esto cae en manos del director Wes Ball, con quien platicamos, igual que con la protagonista y representante de la humanidad, Freya Allen. Así que los invitamos a acompañarnos a esta plática que verdaderamente fue muy esclarecedora de qué pasa 300 años después con los simios y con el humano.
Pero ahora es nuestro momento. Y es mi reino. Vamos a aprender.
Freya, Wes, thank you so much. We're so happy you're here in Mexico.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And I'll start with a question for you because you pretty much represent mankind in this movie.
That's a lot of weight on your shoulders there.
That's a lot of weight on your shoulders. So,
I know.
How interesting was playing that with that sense of it?
Oh my God! I mean, it makes sense as to why she goes where she goes because of that, and it's a huge amount of weight, and I felt that. Yeah.
I always said that, I think I told you this when we first met, I think you had the hardest role to play in the movie, actually.
I mean, because you're not just directly playing the truth.
That's right.
You're trying to play the
You're the most
truth.
complicated character.
Yeah, but there's this other layer of kind of like trying to cover certain things, so it's always about striking that balance and finding the part of the lie that is truthful, to give something more to it, to the character, so that there is some kind of,
Yes.
It was a mental gymnastics at the beginning, I think.
It is even, I can imagine, for the audience, because we have to remember we're human. This movie's made not for apes, it's made for humans. Maybe that's
sure.
very obvious to say, but when you realize that society is now made out of apes,
Yeah, right.
and we're the ones consuming that, that's an interesting layer also.
But that began in 1968. Right?
Yes.
When we look at these movies, they were obviously talking about different topics and mainly about race, and there's something about this concept of flipping the world upside down. We're able to see ourselves in them and sort of almost judge it differently than we would if they were human characters.
True.
You know what I mean? The distance almost allows us to be, more judgmental in a way. And there are always cautionary tales, and all good sci-fi kind of is, But
One of
right.
the great cautionary tales I believe here is people always forget history.
Yeah, right.
How much
That's
of
a
that?
huge part of it, right?
Right, I think so.
Even to the point when like the correct how history can shift and change and kind of distort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how people manipulate it for their own gain.
Yeah, exactly.
And like
I
twist the words.
I think it's interesting that in the story of the Caesar as this history, the true history almost died in the movie.
Yes.
It was this close to being snuffed out, except fate brought Noah, and now Noah carries that flame forward into the future. So how fragile truth can be, I think, is an interesting idea,
So that's why I love that this movie takes us into a not so distant, if we consider science fiction standards, future.
Sure.
And it makes us understand how fast things can change.
Yeah,
Even
I
within
think we
this
witnessed
world.
that in the last few years.
I think we
actually,
have.
We've gone through a lot as a human species. This in the last, say, 5-6 years.
So how much are we the apes, actually?
Yeah.
What would you say, Fred?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything that you see with even at the start of the film with Noah's village being destroyed, it's like they're turning against each other in a certain way, or everything that Proximus is doing, as he gains more kind of curiosity and kind of this craving for power, there's like a danger in it, which I think is
absolute power corrupts, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So many important things. I think this is pretty much holding up a mirror to us as humanity right now, isn't it?
Yeah, all good sci-fi does, right? That's what we strive to do. But at the same time, we want to make sure it's a fun ride. We try to give it lots of good fun, spectacle stuff too, But there is a thinking person's movie in there too,
I believe it is. And tell me something now that you brought that up. Do you believe that sci-fi can be done well without politics in it? Any kind of
Yes,
politics?
in fact, I actually would say our movie isn't political.
Okay.
I think it looks more on the human condition and sort of our past and our present, but these are issues that I think the human race has been struggling with throughout, throughout our existence. You know what I mean? So I would say it's not a topical political kind of movie, I would say. But hey, if it's there, if you want to see it,
I think we're all going to project, right?
That's right.
Obviously, we need a sequel. Obviously, I'm not going to tell people why, but we need it.
That's true.
If we want to know what happens next.
Me too. Obviously, the key here is it's a movie about an ape named Noah and a human named May. And it's their relationship between each other that will carry us forward into future stories if we're lucky enough to make them.
Los simios cazan humanos. Eso no está bien.
Bueno, eso es en el cine. Vámonos a la televisión porque el 16 de mayo regresa la telenovela de muchos favorita. Y sí estoy hablando de la telenovela de Netflix, Bridgerton. Y sí es telenovela, a mí no me digan que no. Esta serie de Shonda Rhimes, como les digo, 16 de mayo. Y tuvimos entrevistas. Ivett Salgado estuvo platicando con muchos de sus protagonistas, empezando por Nicola Coughlan y Luke Newton. Sí, así que veamos.
Querido y gentil lector, hemos estado separados demasiado tiempo. Por fin, la alta sociedad de Londres ha regresado. A esta autora le parece que nuestra sociedad se mueve con la marea del cambio y, por lo tanto, también esta autora.
Que ya no quiero vivir en esa casa. Debo tener esposo.
¿Ya tiene algún pretendiente en mente?
Ese es nuestro hermano.
¿Colin?
So, Nicola, how do you feel about this new part of the story? Because I think that Penelope finally finds what she had been waiting for so long.
Yeah, it's, you know what, it's beautiful, and I think it's a massive privilege as an actor to be able to come back to a character on returning seasons of a show, because you get to explore so much. And with Penn and Colin, we've really got to grow up with them and see them like become adults, and it's just as I said, it's a privilege and really exciting, and the journey that they both go on this season is like deep and beautiful, and they grow together but have to like grow within themselves, which is a very important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, there is a part of the story in which Colin talks with other guys about the social imposition that men have in relation to love. And they need to be indifferent about what truly matters. I think that is a great reflection about what we are looking for today as a society.
Yeah.
Men in transformation. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think that's a really nice moment where we get to see the true side of Colin, because he comes back with this sort of like what appears to sort of like he's got this swagger but a slight arrogance to him. He's come back and had this wild experience abroad, and actually it's in those moments when he's with the gentleman and he's had a couple of drinks and he finds it frustrating, and I think you're right, it's something that we relate to in our time now, of like they're detaching. Sorry, my brain's gone at this point. I just think it's a really lovely moment, and I actually really appreciate your question for that, because no one's mentioned that to me. Yeah, and it is a real like scene. Turning point in him realizing that it's not all about that, and there's so much more to love and romance, and it can come from friendship, and it doesn't have to be so vulgar like those gentlemen.
That's amazing. So, Nicola, if Lady Whistledown were the showrunner of the series, how would she describe the third season?
I think she'd say, dear readers, Miss Featherington and Mr. Bridgerton are entering into uncharted territory, and both must change for both to come together.
Yeah, I love
Prepare for romance.
Yeah. That was great. I was like, you were ready, prepared. I'd be like,
improv, baby.
This is why I am not Lady Whistledown.
You could be.
So look, do you remember any fun moments with Nicola that you want to share today with the fans of the series? Because after 3 seasons, there must be many memories.
Yeah, absolutely. There I mean, there's so many, and we actually really loved a lot of the days that were just the two of us. You know, on a show that has such a large ensemble, you spend a lot of time shooting these big ball sequences, and they become quite difficult and intricate. So it was really nice those days when it was just us. And there's a beautiful scene that I love that's under a big tree, and that we did on the reshoots as well. And it's very rom-com. It's like them really trying to mask how they genuinely feel about each other. It's almost like a transition period in them not being as good at hiding their true emotions and then going into these sort of like adult figures. So, I mean, we shot that twice because we shot that on location and then we shot it in the studio. So I'd say both of those because it was just fun to play the awkwardness of it and not take it too seriously and just explore and try different versions of the scene.
Yeah. And this is my last one, Nicola. If you could take something from Pen, what would be useful in your life? What would it be?
Gosh, I think I may be a bit more cynical than Penelope. I think she has so much faith in love and romance. It's like deep in her core that maybe I need to take a bit of that from her.
Lo que esta autora sabe con certeza es que los diamantes no son las únicas gemas que brillan.
Lord Devlin. Escuché que desea tomar esposa esta temporada.
Está especialmente bella esta noche, señorita Featherington.
Lo has hecho muy bien, Penélope. ¿Qué más podrías querer?
¿Pensabas que la mejor base para un gran amor era la amistad?
Pero es raro. Debes oír al corazón.
¿Cuál es la fuerza primaria que nos guía por nuestro camino?
Penélope.
¿Es nuestra mente o nuestro corazón?
Tenemos una cantidad de entrevistas guardadas para ustedes, esperándonos un poquito al estreno. Han visitado México una cantidad de directores, de actores, de actrices, de estrellas, y vienen todos los estrenos de este verano. Así que entre eso y entrevistas que no tienen en ningún otro lado, aquí los esperamos en M2. Muchas gracias.